You know what's strange about Christmas today? We have more decorations than ever, more lights, more presents, more parties. But somehow it feels empty, like something important is missing. Maybe you felt this too. You buy the perfect gifts, you cook the perfect dinner, you put up the tree. But deep inside there's this feeling, this sense that Christmas used to mean something more, something deeper. And you can't quite remember what it was. You're not alone in feeling this way. Every year, millions of people celebrate Christmas without really knowing why. We know it's Jesus' birthday. But what does that actually mean? Why does it matter? And why does modern Christmas feel so far away from whatever the original meaning was? Here's the beautiful thing. There's a saint who asked these exact same questions. His name was Augustine. He lived 1600 years ago.
And he discovered something about Christmas that changed his entire life. Something that can change yours too. Augustine wasn't always a believer. He spent years searching for meaning. He tried everything. Philosophy, success, pleasure, knowledge. Nothing satisfied him. His heart always felt restless, always searching for something more. And then he discovered the truth about Christmas. Not just the story of baby Jesus in a manger, but what it really means. Why God chose to come to earth as a tiny, helpless baby. And why this changes absolutely everything about how we understand God, ourselves, and what life is really about. In this video, I want to share what Augustine discovered. Not in complicated theological language, but in simple words, the way a friend would explain something beautiful to another friend. Because the truth about Christmas isn't complicated.
It's actually incredibly simple and incredibly profound. So let's take this journey together. Let's discover what Christmas really means. Not the commercial version, not the cultural tradition, but the real meaning. The one that can fill that empty space you've been feeling. The one that can make Christmas magical again. Not because of presents or decorations, but because of something much deeper, something that lasts forever. Are you ready? Let's begin. Let me ask you something. When was the last time Christmas truly moved your heart? Not just made you happy for a day, but actually touched something deep inside you. Made you feel wonder, made you feel grateful, made you feel like life has meaning. For most people, that feeling disappeared somewhere along the way. Maybe it was when you grew up. Maybe it was when you got too busy.
Maybe it was when the world became too loud, too fast, too demanding. Here's what happened to Christmas in our modern world. It became a cultural event, a shopping season, a time for family gatherings and big meals. There's nothing wrong with these things. They're good, but they're not the point. The point got lost somewhere between Black Friday and January 1st, somewhere between the stress of buying presents and the exhaustion of meeting everyone's expectations. Christmas became about everything except the one thing it's supposed to be about. You can see it everywhere. The decorations go up earlier every year. The advertisements start in October. The shopping lists get longer. The parties multiply. And somehow, with all this celebration, the actual meaning gets smaller and smaller until it's just background noise. Many people celebrate Christmas without ever thinking about Jesus.
They know the story, sure. Baby in a manger, wise men, star, angels. It's a nice story, a traditional story. But it doesn't connect to their real life. It doesn't answer their real questions. It doesn't touch their real struggles. And even for people who do think about Jesus at Christmas, it often feels distant, like something that happened long ago in a faraway place, something historical, something religious, but not something that changes your Monday morning, not something that helps with your anxiety, not something that fills that empty space in your heart. This is the problem. Christmas became separated from its meaning. The celebration became separated from what we're celebrating. The tradition became separated from the truth that started the tradition. And this is exactly why it feels empty, because deep in your heart, you know there should be more. You know that all this fuss should be about something important, something life-changing, something worth the excitement. But what is it? What's the meaning that got lost? What's the truth that could make Christmas magical again? This is where Saint Augustine comes in. Because Augustine lived in a different world, a world without Christmas commercials, without shopping malls, without the cultural machinery that turns everything into a product to sell. Augustine encountered Christmas in its pure form, the raw truth of what it means. And when he understood it, really understood it, it shook his entire worldview. It answered questions he'd been asking his whole life. It filled an emptiness he'd been carrying for years. And here's the beautiful part. The same truth that changed Augustine's life can change yours. Because the emptiness you feel at Christmas,
It's not about needing better decorations. It's not about finding the perfect gift. It's not about creating the perfect family moment. It's about reconnecting with the meaning, the real meaning, the one that's been there all along, waiting for you to discover it. So let's look at who Augustine was. Fullness, from confusion to clarity, from restlessness to peace. Augustine was born in North Africa in the year 354. His mother, Monica, was a devoted Christian. His father was not. So Augustine grew up between two worlds, faith and doubt, belief and skepticism. From the beginning, Augustine was brilliant. Everyone could see it. He was curious. He asked questions. He wanted to understand everything. His mother taught him about God, about Jesus, about prayer. And as a child, he believed. But as he grew up, things changed. He went to study in the big city. He discovered philosophy. He discovered pleasure. He discovered that he could use his brilliant mind to become successful, admired, respected. And slowly, the faith of his childhood seemed too simple, too limiting, too old-fashioned. He wanted more. He wanted wisdom. He wanted truth. But he wanted to find it his own way. So Augustine spent years searching. He joined different philosophical groups. He read everything he could find. He pursued success as a teacher. He pursued pleasure with women. He pursued knowledge with other intellectuals. His mother kept praying. She kept hoping he'd return to faith. But Augustine kept running. Not because he was evil, but because he was searching. His heart was restless. He couldn't find peace. He couldn't find satisfaction. Everything he tried left him wanting more. He became a successful teacher in the most important city in the world at that time, Milan. He had students. He had prestige. He had everything he thought he wanted. But inside, he was miserable. He describes this time in his book called Confessions. He says his heart was constantly restless, constantly searching. He'd achieve something and feel empty. He'd gain something and still feel lost. He couldn't understand why nothing satisfied him. This went on for years. His poor mother never stopped praying, never stopped hoping. And slowly, something began to change in Augustine's heart. He started listening to a bishop named Ambrose, not because he believed, but because Ambrose was a brilliant speaker. Augustine went to hear his speeches the way someone today might go to hear a famous philosopher. But the words started getting through. Not to his mind at first, to his heart. Ambrose talked about God in a way Augustine had never heard before, not as a distant judge, not as a harsh rule-maker, but as love itself, as the answer to that restless searching Augustine had been doing his whole life. Still, Augustine resisted. He was proud of his intellect. He didn't want simple faith. He wanted sophisticated philosophy. He wanted to figure everything out with his mind. But one day, everything broke. He was in a garden, wrestling with himself. Part of him wanted to believe. Part of him was afraid. Part of him wanted to surrender to God. Part of him wanted to keep control of his own life. And then he heard a child's voice singing, a simple children's song saying, "Pick it up and read it. Pick it up and read it." There was a Bible nearby. Augustine picked it up. He opened it randomly. And the words he read went straight to his heart like an arrow. It was as if God spoke directly to him. In that moment,
all his intellectual pride melted away. All his resistance crumbled. He understood something he'd been missing his whole life. He understood that his restless heart had been searching for God all along. Every pleasure he pursued, every success he achieved, every philosophy he studied, it was all his heart crying out for the one thing that could truly satisfy it, God himself. Augustine became a Christian that day, and eventually a bishop, and eventually one of the greatest teachers the church has ever known. All because he finally understood what his heart had been searching for all those years. And this understanding, this is what made him see Christmas in a completely new way. After Augustine became a Christian, he started seeing everything differently.
All those years of searching, all those philosophies he studied, all that restlessness in his heart, suddenly it all made sense. And when Christmas came, Augustine understood something that changed everything, something most people miss even today. Here's what he discovered. Christmas isn't just about God sending a nice message to humanity. It's not just about God showing he cares from a distance. Christmas is about something much more radical, much more shocking, much more beautiful. Christmas is about God becoming one of us. Let me explain what this means. In Augustine's time, most people thought of God as distant, powerful, far away, up in heaven somewhere, watching, judging, but not really close, not really touchable, not really part of everyday human life. Even Augustine, with all his brilliant philosophy, thought this way. God was the highest truth, the ultimate reality,
The perfect being, but distant, remote, almost impossible to really know. And then came Christmas. God didn't just send a prophet. He didn't just send a message. He didn't just send rules or teachings or guidance from above. He came himself, in person, as a human being. Think about what this means. The God who created the universe, the God who holds all power, the God who knows everything. This God chose to become a tiny, helpless baby, born to a poor family, in a stable, surrounded by animals. Augustine saw the incredible humility in this. The creator of everything, becoming part of his own creation. The Almighty, becoming powerless. The Eternal, entering time. The Infinite, becoming finite. But why? Why would God do this? This is what Augustine pondered deeply. And here's what he understood. God became human because that's the only way to truly reach us, to truly show us who he is.
To truly bridge the gap between heaven and earth, between the divine and the human, between perfect holiness and our broken mess. If God had just shouted from the sky, we could ignore him. If he had just sent messengers, we could doubt them. If he had just written rules, we could argue about interpretations. But when God becomes one of us, when he lives our life, when he experiences our struggles, that changes everything. Augustine realized this is what his heart had been searching for all along. Not just knowledge about God, not just teachings about God, but God himself, close, real, personal, touchable. Christmas means God is not distant. He's here, with us, in us, for us. Augustine wrote beautiful words about this. He said that God became small so we could become great. He became human so we could become like him. He descended to our level so we could rise to his level.
This is why the baby in the manger matters so much. It's not just a sweet story. It's not just a religious tradition. It's the moment when everything changed, when God and humanity met, when heaven and earth kissed, when the infinite gap between creator and creation was bridged forever. And here's what Augustine understood that makes this so powerful for your life today. If God loved you enough to become human, if he cared enough to enter your world, If he wanted to be close to you that badly, then you matter. Your life matters. Your struggles matter. Your questions matter. Your pain matters. Christmas means you're not alone. You're not abandoned. You're not forgotten. God didn't stay distant. He came close, incredibly close as a baby in a mother's arms. This is what filled Augustine's restless heart. Not a philosophy, not a teaching, but a person, God himself,
who loved him enough to become one of us. And this is what can fill your restless heart too. This is what can make Christmas meaningful again. Not the decorations, not the traditions, not the celebrations, but this simple, profound truth. God became human for you, to be with you, to show you that you're loved, that you're known, that you're never alone. This is the real meaning of Christmas. And once you understand it, everything changes. Augustine had a special word for what happened at Christmas. He called it the Incarnation. That means God taking on flesh, God becoming human, God in a body, living, breathing, feeling. And Augustine realized this changes absolutely everything about how we understand God, how we understand ourselves, how we understand what life is really about. Let me show you what I mean. Before the Incarnation, people could imagine God in all sorts of ways.
Distant, angry, uncaring, impossible to please, impossible to truly know. You could spend your whole life guessing what God is like, what he wants, how to reach him. But after Christmas, after the Incarnation, you don't have to guess anymore. You can look at Jesus. Everything Jesus did, everything Jesus said, everything Jesus showed us about love and mercy and grace, that's what God is like. Do you want to know if God cares about poor people? Look at Jesus. He spent his time with them. Do you want to know if God forgives sinners? Look at Jesus. He ate dinner with them. Do you want to know if God understands suffering? Look at Jesus. He suffered himself. Augustine saw this so clearly. Christmas means God is not mysterious and distant anymore. He revealed himself, fully, completely, in Jesus. If you want to know what God is like, look at the baby who became the man. Look at Jesus.
But there's something else the Incarnation changes, something even more personal. It changes how you see yourself. Think about it. If God thought humanity was worthless, why would he become human? If he thought our existence was meaningless, why would he enter it? If he despised us, why would he join us? The Incarnation is God's vote of confidence in humanity. It's God saying that human life matters, that human bodies matter, that human experiences matter, that you matter. Augustine understood this deeply. All those years he spent searching, he felt worthless. He felt like his desires were bad, his struggles were shameful, his humanity was something to overcome or escape. But the Incarnation taught him something different. God didn't come to destroy our humanity. He came to heal it, to restore it, to show us what humanity was meant to be.
When God became human in Jesus, he showed us that being human is good. Our bodies are good. Our emotions are good. Our need for love is good. Everything God created in us is good. It's just been damaged by sin, twisted, broken, but not bad at its core. This changes how you see your own life, your own struggles, your own desires. They're not evil. They're misdirected. They're looking for fulfillment in the wrong places. But the desires themselves, the longing for love, for meaning, for connection, for peace, those are good. God put them there. And Christmas shows us where those desires are meant to find their fulfillment, in God, in the God who became human, who knows what it's like to be you, who understands your struggles from the inside. Augustine realized this is why his heart had been so restless. He was trying to fill God-shaped longings with things that couldn't satisfy them.
Success, pleasure, knowledge, these things are good, but they're not ultimate. They can't fill the deepest hunger in your heart. Only God can do that, and God knows this. That's why he came. That's what Christmas means. God coming to fulfill the longing he placed in your heart.
The incarnation also changes how we see other people. If God loved humanity enough to become human, then every human being has infinite value. Every person you meet carries the image of God. Every life matters. Every soul is precious. This is revolutionary. This is what Augustine discovered in the manger. Not just a nice story, not just a religious event, but the moment when God reached across the infinite distance and became one of us, to show us who he is, to show us who we are, to show us we're loved beyond measure. This is Christmas, and once you see it, you can never see it the same way again.
Augustine wrote one of the most famous sentences in Christian history. It's the first thing he says in his Confessions. He says, "You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our heart is restless until it rests in you." This sentence captures everything. Everything about Christmas. Everything about why you feel that emptiness. Everything about what you're really searching for. Let me explain what Augustine means. Your heart is restless. You felt it. That constant searching. That feeling that something is missing. That sense that you should be happier than you are. More satisfied. More at peace. You achieve something you wanted, and for a moment you feel good. But then the restlessness returns. You get something you've been longing for, and for a while it satisfies you. But then you want more. You find a relationship. You feel fulfilled.
But then you realize even the best relationship can't fill the deepest emptiness in your heart. This restlessness isn't a defect. It's not a sign that something is wrong with you. Augustine discovered it's actually a sign that something is right with you. It's your heart's way of telling you that you were made for something more. Someone more. God created you with a longing that only he can satisfy. He built into your heart a hunger that nothing else can fill. Not because he's cruel, but because he loves you, because he wants you to find him, to come home to him. Think of it like this. A baby cries when it's hungry. The crying isn't bad, it's good. It's the baby's way of asking for what it needs. Your restless heart is like that. It's crying out for what it needs, for who it needs. And here's where Christmas becomes so beautiful, so powerful, so personal. God heard your restless heart.
He saw you searching. He watched you try to fill that emptiness with things that can't satisfy it. And he didn't stay distant. He didn't just send instructions. He came himself. This is what the baby in the manger means. It means God's answer to your restless heart. God saying, I know what you need. You need me. And I'm here. Augustine spent 33 years with a restless heart, searching everywhere, trying everything, and nothing worked, until he found God. Or rather, until he let God find him. And then his heart finally rested, finally found peace, finally came home. This is available to you, this peace, this rest, this sense of finally being where you're meant to be, with who you're meant to be with. You don't have to keep searching endlessly. You don't have to keep trying to fill that emptiness with things that leak, with pleasures that fade, with achievements that disappoint, with relationships that can't bear the weight of your deepest needs. There's a better way. The way Augustine found, the way Christmas reveals. Your restless heart is actually a gift. It's God's invitation, God's voice calling you, saying, come to me. I'm what you've been looking for all along. I'm the peace you crave. I'm the love you need. I'm the meaning you seek. This is why Christmas matters. Not because we're supposed to celebrate Jesus' birthday once a year, but because Christmas reveals the answer to your deepest question, the solution to your biggest problem, the fulfillment of your most profound longing. God is not far away. He's not distant. He's not unreachable. He came close as possible. He became human. He entered your world. He's here, waiting, ready to give your restless heart the rest it's been craving. This is the real meaning of Christmas.
This is what Augustine discovered. This is what can change your life. Not someday, not eventually, right now, today. So let's bring this home. Let's make it practical.
How does understanding the real meaning of Christmas change your actual life? Not just your thoughts, but your daily experience, your struggles, your relationships, your heart. First, it changes how you see yourself. You're not an accident. You're not a random collection of atoms that happen to come together. You're not insignificant. God himself thought you were worth becoming human for. Let that sink in. The creator of the universe loved humanity so much that he became part of it. That includes you. You're part of the humanity God valued enough to join. You're part of the world God loved enough to enter. This means you have infinite worth, not because of what you achieve, not because of how you look, not because of how successful you are, but because God created you, because God loves you, because God came for you. When you're feeling worthless, remember Christmas. Remember that God didn't think you were worthless. He thought you were worth everything, worth leaving heaven for, worth becoming human for, worth dying for. Second, it changes how you deal with loneliness. You're never truly alone. God became Emmanuel. That means God with us, not God far away, not God watching from a distance. God with us, right here, right now. When you feel alone, remember the baby in the manger. Remember that God chose to be with us, to experience what we experience, to feel what we feel. He understands your loneliness because he experienced it too. He walked this earth. He felt rejection. He knew what it's like to be human. And even better, he's still with us through his Spirit, through his presence.
You can talk to him anytime. You can turn to him anywhere. You could invite him into your struggles, your joys, your questions, your pain. Third, it changes your relationships with other people. If God loved humanity enough to become human, then every person you meet carries that same value. Your difficult coworker, your annoying neighbor, your challenging family member. God loves them just as much as he loves you. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everyone, or accept everything, or pretend problems don't exist. But it means you can see people the way God sees them, as valuable, as worthy of love, as created in his image. Fourth, it gives you hope. Real hope. Not wishful thinking, but solid, grounded, confident hope. Because if God cared enough to solve the biggest problem, the separation between God and humanity, then he cares about your problems too.
The God who left heaven to be born in a stable is the God who walks with you through your struggles, who helps you through your pain, who guides you through your confusion. Christmas means God is for you, on your side, rooting for you, working in your life, not distant, not uncaring, but intimately involved, personally invested, actively present. Fifth, it fills that emptiness, that restless heart Augustine talked about. You can stop searching in all the wrong places. Stop trying to fill a God-shaped hole with things that don't fit. God is right here, available, accessible, ready to give you the peace your heart craves, the love your soul needs, the meaning your life requires. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to figure everything out first. God came to you when you couldn't come to him. That's what Christmas means. God taking the initiative.
God making the move. God bridging the gap. All you have to do is receive it, accept it, let him in. Let him fill that emptiness. Let him give your restless heart the rest it needs. This is what Christmas offers you. Today, right now. Not someday when you're better. Not eventually when you're worthy. Now, as you are, where you are. This is the real meaning of Christmas, and it's for you. So you understand the meaning now. You see what Christmas is really about. But how do you experience it? How do you move from knowing about it to actually living it? How do you make this Christmas different from all the empty Christmases before? Let me share some simple, practical steps, things Augustine would tell you if he were here, ways to connect with the real meaning of Christmas this year. First, slow down. I know that sounds impossible during the holidays. Everything moves so fast.
So many demands, so many expectations. But you can't experience the depth of Christmas at the speed of modern life. Take time, real time, not leftover time, not 5-minute time, but actual, devoted, focused time. Maybe it's early morning before everyone wakes up. Maybe it's late evening when things quiet down. Find time to be still, to think, to pray, to let the meaning sink in. Second, read the Christmas story. Not just once, not just quickly, but slowly, thoughtfully. Let yourself be there, in Bethlehem, in the stable, looking at the manger. Read Luke chapter 2. Read Matthew chapters 1 and 2. But don't just read the words. Imagine the scene. Feel the cold night. See Mary's face. Hear the baby's cry. Smell the hay and animals. And as you read, ask yourself, what does this mean? God in a manger. The Creator as a baby. Why? Why this way? What is God showing me?
Third, talk to God. Not formal prayers necessarily, though those are fine, but real conversation. Tell him about your restless heart, your emptiness, your search for meaning, your loneliness, your struggles. Tell him you want to experience the real Christmas, not just know about it, but feel it, live it, let it change you. Ask him to show you what it means that he became human for you. Ask him to fill that emptiness in your heart. God wants to hear from you. He's not waiting for perfect words. He's waiting for an honest heart, for someone willing to say, I need you. I want to know you. I'm tired of empty celebration. I want the real thing. Fourth, simplify your Christmas. I know this is hard. Everyone expects certain things, but maybe this year you can do less. Buy fewer presents. Attend fewer parties. Create fewer elaborate decorations. Not because these things are bad,
but because they can crowd out what matters. They can fill all your time and energy so there's nothing left for experiencing the real meaning. Choose 1 or 2 traditions that truly connect you to the meaning of Christmas. Maybe it's attending a Christmas Eve service. Maybe it's reading the Christmas story with your family. Maybe it's spending time serving people in need. Whatever helps you remember why we celebrate. Fifth, serve someone. This is what God did at Christmas. He served us. He came down. He gave himself. He met our need. You can reflect this. Find someone who needs help. Maybe it's someone lonely who needs company. Maybe it's someone struggling who needs practical help. Maybe it's someone hurting who needs encouragement. When you serve others, you're living out the meaning of Christmas. You're doing what God did. Coming down, meeting needs, giving yourself.
And in giving, you receive. You experience the joy that comes from love in action. Sixth, share what you're learning. Tell someone about the real meaning of Christmas. Not in a preachy way, but as a friend sharing something beautiful, something that matters, something that changed your perspective. Maybe it's a conversation over coffee. Maybe it's a message to a friend. Maybe it's a comment on social media. However it works for you, when you share what you're discovering, it becomes more real, more solid, more part of your life. Seventh, make it personal. Don't just think about God becoming human in general. Think about God becoming human for you, personally, individually, specifically. God didn't become human as a theological statement. He became human to reach you, to know you, to love you, to save you, to be with you. This Christmas, let it be personal, between you and Him.
Let the baby in the manger be God's love letter to you, His gift to you, His presence with you. This is how you experience the real Christmas. Not through bigger celebrations, but through deeper connection. Not through more activities, but through more awareness. Not through perfect traditions, but through real relationship with the God who loved you enough to become one of us. We started this conversation with a question. Why does Christmas feel empty today?
Why does all the celebration seem to miss something important? Now you know the answer. Christmas feels empty when we forget what we're celebrating, when the meaning gets lost in the noise, when we focus on everything except the one thing that matters. But it doesn't have to be that way. Not this year. Not for you. You've discovered what Saint Augustine discovered 1600 years ago, the real meaning of Christmas. The profound, beautiful, life-changing truth. God became human. God came close. God entered your world for you. This isn't just a historical fact. It's not just a religious doctrine. It's personal. It's for you, right now, today. Your restless heart? God hears it. The emptiness you feel? God wants to fill it. The longing for something more? God is the answer. You don't have to spend your life searching. You don't have to try everything, hoping something will satisfy you. Augustine did that. He searched everywhere. And in the end, he found that what he was looking for was right there all along. In God. In the God who loved him enough to become human. The same God who came for Augustine comes for you. The same love that reached Augustine reaches you. The same peace that filled Augustine's restless heart can fill yours. This Christmas, you can experience something real, something deep.
Something that lasts beyond December 25th. You can connect with the God who became a baby in a manger, who lived as a human, who died for you, who rose again, who's here now, who's always been here, waiting for you. All you have to do is open your heart. Tell him you're ready. Tell him you want the real Christmas. Tell him you need what only he can give. And he will answer. He always does. Because this is who God is. The God who comes close. The God who reaches down. The God who becomes Emmanuel. God with us. This is the real meaning of Christmas. And this year, it can be yours. Not just something you know, but something you experience. Something that changes everything. Merry Christmas. May you discover, like Augustine did, that your restless heart can finally find its rest in him. In the God who loved you enough to become human for you.